All right, I just finished a day of work. I kind of want to kick back now, but we're in training mode, so it's time for a run. So the summer before Reese was born, I was actually in pretty good shape, if I can say that without sounding like I'm bragging. I was boxing, and that's a good sport to keep in shape. But boxing is not a good sport when you are a parent of a newborn and you're not getting sufficient sleep. So I had to put that on pause, and right when Reese was starting to get better sleep habits, the pandemic struck. And now I'm really not going back to boxing because that's just not a great hygienic sport. Anyway, the pandemic stretches on a year, and before I know it, it's been like a year and a half of not doing any physical activity. A few months ago, I started running again just because I needed to do something to get physically feeling good again. Started adding a few miles every week, kind of like I would do if I were training, although I figured I couldn't be training for anything because right about the time I'd be getting to the length of a half marathon, we'd be pretty close to our due date. As it turns out, right now, I'm at the point where I'm running roughly 10 to 12 miles on weekends, and so that is the shape I want to be in for a half marathon. I figure this is not going to get easier when I go back to having newborns, so let's do this. So I determined the best time for me to try and get in a last-minute race would be the third weekend of October. And as it turns out, this is actually a really popular weekend for a lot of cities to throw their big marathon. I am looking at races in Denver, Columbus, Albuquerque, and Detroit. So I've always had a fondness for Detroit. I've only been there once. I like Columbus's a lot. Columbus seems like a really cool city. I don't know, it on paper just seems so unsuspecting, and yet there's so many cool people from Columbus. Not that I'm gonna meet them all by running. So the Denver Colfax Marathon. Oh, this is really cool. The race goes through the Denver Zoo. It goes right down downtown Denver. I know this part of Denver fairly well, and it's gorgeous. Albuquerque. New Mexico's not too far away, which right now is a plus. I'm interested in running in each of these spots at some point in the future. We'll see if I actually do it, but since I've got to pick one for right now, with the twins coming soon, I don't want to get too far away from home. I want to be somewhere where I can kind of fly in, do the race, and fly back out. So I think that kind of makes the Midwest look not so ideal. It's going to take like a whole day getting out there, a whole day going back, and I don't want to be wiped out by a race. We're between Denver and Albuquerque. Man, that Denver course looks gorgeous, but I'm a little intimidated by running at elevation. Okay, it's official. I'm going to Albuquerque. You know, the funny thing is, one of the reasons why I decided on Albuquerque over Denver was the elevation factor. And now I just learned that Albuquerque is not that much lower. Albuquerque's at 5,000 feet above sea level. So, well, I guess now, next time I'm thinking about running somewhere at elevation, I can no longer say I've never done it. See you soon, Albuquerque. Okay, we're up early and we're headed for Albuquerque. Okay, so I'm just at the airport trying to think of what to do next. I think I'll maybe go downtown and try and get to the expo, pick up my race bib, and see what's downtown. So what's there to do for fun in a place like Albuquerque? Well, if you ask a lot of the Lyft drivers I ran into, not a whole lot. They didn't seem to think their town had a lot of excitement. But if you ask the motel where I stayed, there's a boot barn. You're somewhat close to Lubbock, Texas, and you can take a free maggot bath at this museum. Albuquerque is a lot cooler than I thought it would be. It's cooler than California right now, and that's especially true of the mornings, aka when I would be starting my run. Came here to pick something up. I don't like to wear a lot of stuff when I run, and I know by the time I finish the race, I'll be ready to take off whatever. I like this jacket. I'm not going to want to leave it along the trail. I know they can do coat checks and everything, but that's complicated. So I'm just going to pick up something that I can leave behind to donate afterwards and just toss off partway through the run. Do I just give you my name or number? Or?
Just a bit.
Okay, here you go.
Then what size color shirt do you want?
Small red, please.
Small red?
Yeah. Alright, there's two of us San Diegans here. Gotta take a preview of this course. Looks like for the vast majority of the time, I'll be running alongside the river. Every time I've said the river here, everyone's corrected me and said the Rio Grande. So, we're running along Rio Grande, which is a river. Alright, I'm officially checked in now. This is me, bib number 1363. And I like the design of the race shirt that I get. Anyway, now that that's taken care of, I'm gonna go find somewhere to carbo load. Alright, I'm back at the hotel room. Picked up some pizza for my carbo loading. You know, I really wanted to go with like the New Mexico favorite of just this big fat burrito with green chili all over it. Then I thought that might be a better meal for after the race. Plus I've got like, basically whenever I asked people for recommendations, they gave me another place that serves green chili burritos. So figure I'll have some of that tomorrow. In the meantime, pizza seemed like a good carbo load option, and it just occurred to me Detroit was one of the races I did not sign up for that I considered. So here's a little shout out to my almost contender Detroit style pizza, and the pizza does have green chili on it. I'm not going for a personal record or anything like that. I've actually been thinking about this because it's my first race in quite a while. I've been hearing so many people talk about just like body acceptance right now. Like I don't experience that in the way a lot of people have. It's just not something I've particularly dealt with. But you know, in my own way, athletically, like it's so easy to compare where I was before to where I am now, and I wish I was still there. But there are just so many reasons why like it's a false comparison. 30 doesn't seem like this big wall, but if you're a sports fan, you know, like that's oftentimes where like a lot of football players retire and baseball players go from being young and upcoming to old, and veteran players overnight. Anyway, I also spend a lot of my time running after a kid, and so I just have less energy. All that to say, like, you know, do your best, but like your best isn't always just gonna be like this even keel thing. Doing your best at 3 very different points in your life will have 3 very different results. I gotta go to bed. See you tomorrow for the race. All right, race day is here. Let's get ready. Alright, carrying with my tradition of wearing my previous race shirt to the current race. Unforeseen obstacle. It is 6:30 and there are hardly any rideshare services running. Hardly any drivers for Lyft going at this time. I think the few that are operating are taking people to the race, and I did not account for that. I am only about a 5-minute drive away from the starting line, so that's good. And my driver is 5 minutes away, so that's good too. But the race starts in 5 minutes. Alrighty, but we're racing already. We're just racing to the start line. I'm in the lift now, but a bunch of the roads getting me there are closed off, so I still think I'm gonna make it in time, but got the adrenaline going ahead of schedule. All right, that was dramatic, but my Lyft driver did get me here on time. I'm 3 blocks away from the start line. Everything worked out.
Turn me up in the headphone. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit my nose. Anything is possible. Hey. I grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles. Anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. All I know is get paper. All I do is major. Bought a condo on the top floor and the building's a skyscraper. Feeling like I'm Kobe, LeBron for the Lakers. Feeling like I'm Idris, Paul Walker, Taker. New Rollie, no diamonds in it. New Porsche, all dimes in it. I'm infatuated with fine women. Corona extra with the lime in it. Just a change to Henny. Used to be a penny pincher. Now I'm in plenty business. Grind hard, oh God. Grind hard, oh God. Yeah. We grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible.
We're done. Last few miles just felt like coasting. That feels good. I think my final time was maybe about like 5 to 8 minutes slower than the last one, but what does that matter? Honestly, that's not that much slower, and I thought I'll be even further behind, so that's something to be happy with. Also, even though I wasn't as fast, I feel like I have more gas in the tank right now. Gonna go try and get as many free snacks and drinks as I can, and then take a long nap back at the motel. After running, I decided to finally get one of those green chili burritos. I went to one of New Mexico's favorite restaurants, Frontier. People love this place over here. To close out the day, I decided to go back to a part of the race course, the Botanical Gardens and Nature Trail. Well, this is perhaps a bit ironic, but I decided to revisit one of, this is the trail I was running on earlier today. But this was the pretty part of the race, and so now I get to see it at a bit of a slower pace, at golden hour nonetheless. Now apparently there are porcupines up in these trees, and while I'm not really expecting to just run into one on a short evening walk, if I were to, this is probably one of my better bets. That would be cool. No porcupines were seen, but it was still a great place to wrap up a big day. All right, we did it. Half marathon in the bags. I'm glad I got to sneak in one more adventure before the twins get here. Now I get to go welcome a few newborns into the world and totally get back out of shape again. But no, it felt good knowing that I could jump back into it even after 4 years. Hopefully it won't be that long until my next one. Anyways, fun times in Albuquerque. Now I get to go home, and I have no more trips on the horizon because I have something else on the horizon, and it's those twins. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. I'll see you again soon. Take care.